Christian Romero is close to agreeing personal terms with Atletico Madrid. Talks between Tottenham and Atletico Madrid seem to be progressing well. I think some of the other reports are also said that they're not close to agreeing a fee because Tottenham wants £70 million and not really looking to budge from that unless they're looking to offer in and around 60 to 70 million euros. That's what they'd accept. So what do you think about Romero potentially going and I suppose Atletico Madrid is still happening?
Christian Romero. Look, I always think that with Romero, it boils down to two things. One, does he want to leave? Which all the noises for the last couple of years would suggest yes, but now with Frank there and maybe he realises now that under Frank he won't be played in a wide open gung-ho system and he might actually be able to be a defender that isn't in a team that concede 4 goals a game. The second thing is, can Atletico afford him? That's the question, right? I've always said this about Romero. I like Romero. I've just never thought he's as good as others think. My question is this. Why is no one to date, so far, by the way, there's a long window to go. Why is no one so far bigger than, like, no one's come in for him? Like, if he's this great player, why am Bayern Munich putting the money up for Romero? Why are PSG going for Zabani from Bournemouth? Why are they not coming for him? So I think he'll be here next year because I don't think anyone will have the money to pay what Daniel Levy wants for him. I think it's going to boil down to that. The problem you've got for me is it boils down to the man. Does he want to be here? If you've got a fully fit, fully focused Romero, you've got a very good defender. Problem is, Jords, for 50% of the time, you don't have a fully fit, fully focused Romero. Yeah. He's either not fit or he's thinking about Argentina or he's slating our medical staff or he's saying bad things. I just, if he's here, get him to sign a new contract and get this guy committed and get him fit for 38 games a season. And that's where I've always had the issue with Romero. There's too much going on around him. And last thing I'll say, sorry, I've ranted a bit there.
That's fine.
The last thing I'll say about it is he's the sort of person that if we were looking at buying, our fans would be saying, oh, he's a bad egg. Oh, I don't know, his attitude. Oh, he speaks out in the press. So for me, not really too sure that he's going to go purely because of the price. But I do believe that if Atletico stumped up 65, 70 million with 2 years left to go and the player doesn't want to be here, then I do think that he'd go. Playing for Simeone is going to be a big draw for him. Obviously an Argentinian legend, one of the best managers in the world. He's got who's Argentina? Who's Argentinian at Atletico? You've got Julian Alvarez. You've got Rodrigo de Paul. You've got Simeone's son. I'm missing a few, I think. So for me, I think if they cough up the money, he's gone. I think he will force his way out. If not, he stays. And which Romero have we got? That's the question mark for me.
Yeah, I think with Romero, it's like you said there, you summed it up perfectly. It's what Romero are we going to get? Because the season before last, I thought he was amazing. I thought he was really improving. I feel like he took that step forward where he could go to be a leader for Tottenham. And then last season, he had all the injury problems. He came back, didn't really look like himself. Was good in the Europa League campaign, you could say. But even then, again, I feel like he was some way off the Romero that we know he could be. For this Atletico move, I think Neil Gunner put it perfectly there. It's the most Argentinian squad out there. Like I feel like he's going to be very comfortable over there. When you talk about the way they play, it's probably more suited to his style of football. And also I know when he came over from Serie A, he was used to playing in back threes. So he played in a lot of back threes and he's come to Tottenham in a back two. And that's where I feel like he's probably suffered at times. And where he switches off, that's where you start to see a lot more goals conceded because he used to having those other players in and around him filling in.
And in a very
gaps.
wide open back two as well, George. I think, as a defender like that, would you want to be? He comes from Argentina, right? When he goes to play for Argentina, who play a very compact game, defensively solid, really well drilled. And for the last few years, he's been playing in a wide open Spurs defense that concede for fun. Maybe he's had enough of that. I don't know the guy. Maybe he's the nicest guy in the world, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think he has. And to be fair, I think it's probably the best way to leave Tottenham if he is going to leave Tottenham. Look, we lifted a trophy. He captained us to that. And look, we can just part ways in an amicable way where he goes on to do better in his career. We get in a decent fee for him. I do think that the fee that we are asking for is the right fee, to be honest, because I do feel like if we get anything under 55 to 60 million, then we're being fleeced, because we brought him, I believe, for 40 to 45 million pounds.
Yeah.
That was 4 years ago or so, when the market wasn't at where it's at now. And he's definitely improved in those years. Maybe not drastically, but he's definitely improved in those years. So you're getting a more polished defender at 60 to 60 million pounds. But it remains to be seen whether Atleti are going to be able to rise those funds for that.
What I will say as well, though, is if we want him to stay and he stays, we can't be surprised if he misses loads of games next season. So what we can't do, I feel like for the last 2 years, we've used this excuse. Oh, but, Romero's not been fit. Well, yeah, we know that. We know that now. We should have learnt that years ago, that Romero, throughout his career, misses a lot of games of football. So if he does stay next year, again, what we're going to be doing is putting our hope in Van der Ven and Romero, two very injury-prone footballers. Now, that may change with a new manager and a different way of training, different way of playing. But both of them, Jords, if you look at their careers back in Italy and in Germany, both of them are very injury-prone. So I think it's my worry about building a back four around two injury-prone centre-backs, not just one.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, no, definitely worried about it. But let's see. Spurs still definitely need to make a move in the window for a centre-back if he does look like he's on his way out. I know over the next week, we'll see the confirmation of Kota Takai in a Spurs shirt. I've heard that it's the 5th of July is his travelling day. The 5th or the 8th, I think it was, either of those.
5th, I think.
Was his travelling day to Tottenham. So we'll get to see him confirmed. But look, that's pretty much been all the Tottenham transfer news that we could cover, all the players on the incoming side of things, all the players on the outgoing side of things. So I hope we touch all the transfers you guys wanted to speak about in the comment section. Big up for everyone that's in the building right now. We did get to 100 likes. We're on 103 exactly. So we hit the goal. That's massive. Appreciate the support, people. Before we do head out, we did have a question for you, though, Savva, from Sharkeisha, saying, what is a marquee signing for you for Spurs' window? What player would make you happy before the window shuts?
Yeah, for me, I don't think it's so much about marquee. I don't think Spurs are in the market of signing marquee signings. I think it's about sensible signings. So for me, I think Kudus, a Semenyo, Xavi Simons, the lad from Lyon. I think these are the sort of players I want to see come through the door. And I think you can get two of them at least. So for me, I don't know if that answers your question, but I put them into my marquee bracket.